Spiritual gifts. Not everyone knows they have one. Not everyone knows they exist. Not everyone believes in spiritual gifts. I know of a surety spiritual gifts exist. Someone that goes to the gym a lot, they work out their physical muscles. Let's just use this person. It's not a real person. It's literally a construct for a theoretical, hypothetical scenario. I throw out theoreticals constantly in my daily life, all the time. And the number one thing I've noticed, which is odd, I'll throw out a hypothetical, I'll throw out a theoretical. A lot of people will say, oh really, so that happened. Where is this person? Are they okay? The person doesn't exist. I just invented them for a hypothetical, theoretical scenario, situation, as an analogy to describe something. And I never say that part because I'm like, you either understand I'm talking about a hypothetical, theoretical, or you don't. But I start off by saying hypothetically, theoretically. I mean, it's not rocket science. But no, let's just talk about spiritual gifts, all right? There are a million analogies that can be created to describe the spiritual. For example, quantum entanglement. That's a good one that could describe ESP, or having a spiritual gift to pick up on things other people can't pick up on. I would say psychics most definitely have a spiritual gift. It's a spiritual gift often faked and often misunderstood, often hyped, or often sold. Whether it's a tough one. It's a tough one because there are a lot of fake psychics out there. It makes any real psychics look like fakes automatically by default, understandably. I'm sure having specific psychic abilities, being able to communicate with spirits, that would definitely be a spiritual gift. I can't communicate with spirits. Spirits occasionally try to communicate with me. Now, let me preface by saying spiritual gifts exist, all right? They're a real thing, okay? I have a spiritual gift. I'll talk about it maybe near the end of the video. I've already mentioned it thousands of times. But someone who goes to the gym, works out their physical muscles. They know muscles exist, and they look at a fat person, or they'll look at someone like me and they'll be like, that guy doesn't even know he could work out his muscles and be strong and healthy. Well, you, hypothetical, theoretical person, you don't know you can work out your spiritual muscles and work out your spiritual gift. Make it stronger. The spirit doesn't even exist, man. It's not even real. Man, you're an idiot. You're an idiot. And then you're dead. And the only thing left of you is a spirit. And you're like, whoa, what's this? I don't believe in this. I don't understand how you don't believe in yourself. Because after you're dead, all you are is a spirit. That's it. If you don't believe in yourself and you're a spirit flying around the spirit world, something weird's going on, something odd. Most definitely, there are going to be many people that are like, whoa, I'm not dead. There are going to be many people saying, whoa, I was told ghosts are fake my whole life. Dark matter. Quantum entanglement, brown dwarfs, black holes. These are different things in the universe, different scientific observations or theoretical beliefs, and most definitely they can all be factual, and they're all very good analogies for the unseen dimension of spirit. Spirit exists. Spiritual gifts exist. Doesn't matter if your hero icon who has a top podcast in the world, your favorite TV show, actor, movie, person, musician, whatever the case. It doesn't matter if they don't believe in spirits. It doesn't matter. Their opinion means nothing. Spirits exist. Spiritual gifts exist. Fine, I'll mention my spiritual gift. I can feel when spirits walk through me. It doesn't seem that impressive. I've never invented it, and it's not an invention. It's a real thing. If I were to choose a spiritual gift, shoot, I don't know, man. If I could choose something, I'd probably choose, I don't know, man. That's a good one. You know, I'd probably choose being able to leave my body and go anywhere and fly around the world. I can't do that. I've never left my body as far as I know, except for everyone when they recharge their batteries, when they go to sleep. I've heard that your body is laying there and your spirit can temporarily become detached, and then it bounces back in. You know, when you're sleeping, you're having a dream, and you jolt. Well, some spiritualists say it's your spirit being bounced back into your body. Ever since I heard that, I was like, wow, that's possible. Science would immediately reject that, but it's theoretically possible. I'm sure science has an explanation for that. It's just when I heard that, I can tell you this. I've left my body. I know I just said I've never left my body. I've never left my body at will and flown around the universe or flown around the country. No. I've had lucid dreams. And I don't know if I was leaving my body or not. Probably not. Probably just a REM sleep dream, right? But there's a difference between REM sleep, a dream, a lucid dream. It doesn't matter what kind of dream. There's a huge difference between that and slightly leaving your body, and you hear and after you get through that, you can hear the room from a spiritual perspective. It's very odd. It's only happened to me very few number of times. I'm not gonna lie. It's probably happened as few as 5 times in my entire life, but enough times where I recognize what it is. You can hear the spirit plane of existence, the spirit dimension, if you're listening with your spirit ears that have been detached from your body. I heard someone play the guitar once, and it wasn't a dream. It was literally someone playing an electric guitar, super loud, right next to my bed, and sounded like Jimi Hendrix, to be honest. I didn't recognize the song. It was someone just playing around on an amp. It wasn't a song. It was someone literally messing around, just boing, bing, bong, bong. And the owner of the house, he had a guitar. He had an acoustic guitar, and an electric guitar. He actually had a band. He looked like a 60-year-old guy with a band. He's one of those guys who just wants to jam with his bandmates on the weekend type deal. And I never heard him play in the house. I heard him play, I think he was in the backyard or the garage. either the garage or some type of storage building in the backyard. I heard him play once. Clearly, the wife was like, you want to play with your friends, play way over there. And I could barely hear like the drums, and I could barely hear it. And that's the only time I ever heard it. So you could put two and two together. Maybe I was hearing residual. Maybe he did play in that room, in that spot, and I was hearing a repeat. All I can tell you is this: when I go to the spirit plane, like I've said as few as 5 times in my life, while trying to sleep, it's usually when you're about to wake up. It's usually when you're about to wake up. We're talking 4 a.m., 5 a.m. You're like not wanting to wake up. You're still half asleep. And it's easy sometimes. I've never been able to induce it on purpose, ever. Never tried. But the spiritual plane of existence, the spirit dimension exists. One time, I can only relate a couple times out of the 5, but one time I heard pots and pans. I heard like a crowd of 100 people, 1,000 people, 10,000 people, 100,000 people, a subway, a car, a bus, a train, a plane, more pots and pans, people walking along a sidewalk, 1 million people, just so many sounds. It sounded like, but I could have occasionally isolate one of the sounds as what it was. It sounded like everything that ever happened in that space, in the history of the planet or something. It was very odd. So I think the spirit plane of existence, the spirit dimension, might be very loud. We see it in movies as the afterlife. Even in Beetlejuice, where they try to make it scary, it's still a lot more peaceful than 1 million people walking. And I was hearing horns, everything. Supposedly there's a mic that went down into a deep hole and they recorded hell. I think it's a hoax, personally. I never gave any credence to that thing. But whoever created it, they like recorded like a pig farm, and they recorded like a busy stadium event. I don't know. And they like put the sound files together, because you can hear a lot of people going, and then occasionally you can hear oink oinks, whatever the sound pigs make, pig squealing noises. And I was like, yeah, that's pigs. That's someone mixed a crowd of people with pigs, because they're trying to create a creative audio file for what hell sounds like. And I can't imagine what hell sounds like. Maybe it does sound like a bunch of pigs and a bunch of people. Who knows? The spirit plane of existence, I was able to isolate certain sounds. Maybe you can do that at will, and maybe you focus on something and everything goes away. All I know is I was only there listening for what seemed like sometimes a few minutes, sometimes a few seconds. When I realize where I am, I recognize this place. I pop back into my body and I feel that jolt back into the body. I feel the jolt. So that's why I tend to believe the spiritualists who say that jolt is your spirit popping back in your body, as opposed to any scientific explanation. I'm sure they have one. Spiritual gifts exist. I can feel spirits walk through me, but I'm not unique in the fact that many people can. You watch ghost shows, you watch even non-ghost shows. You watch someone just check out a cave, and it's not a ghost show. They're cave explorers, and they'll be like, oh, I felt something weird sensation. they don't even realize they felt a spirit walk through them. But the ghost shows, they do realize, like, whoa, I felt something go through my chest. I felt something go through the back of my head. I felt something cold near my arm. It's not always cold. The cold is a misnomer from my perspective. But occasionally, for me it's pretty rarely, you can feel a spirit going around you in a temperature, in a way that you can sense with temperature change. To me, that's rare. What's common to me is I feel it walk through my body. I can feel a spirit walk through my body to the point where I know if they're walking forward, back, forward, left to right, right to left. I don't think too many people notice. I'll tell you this, I didn't wake up one day and say, I can feel spirits walk through my body. No, it doesn't work that way. I thought it was just, oh, okay, I got the AC on too high, and my body is adjusting. Most definitely there's a body adjusting feeling, but it's not the same as a spirit walking through your body. It's not the same. I first discovered I could sense, and first discovered what my spiritual gift was. And let me just give you a preface. A lot of ghost hunters can go to a haunted place and feel a spirit walk through their body. Yes. First of all, they're actively anticipating something happening. They're actively listening to everything going on. I'll just be watching TV, which I don't do that often. I'll be on the computer playing a video game. I'll be going to lunch. I'll be sitting in the waiting room. I'll be in line. I'll be even parked at a red light. Doesn't matter. I feel spirits walk through me, sometimes more than other times. But the first time it ever happened, I knocked on an old house. It looked like it was a 100-year-old house, 100 years old. It looked like it was built 1901, 1910, 1915, 1925. A pretty old house, all right, 100-year-old house. And I knocked on the door. Nobody answered. Looked through the little window, side window. Nothing. No one there. No one home. But I felt a spirit walk through my body very prominently to say, hey, I'm home. I was like, what? I pieced two and two together because it happened again. And then it walked through me again. It really wanted me to know it's home. And when I realized it's a spirit reacting to my knocking on the door, not the human living residence, I was like, wow, this is interesting. I've felt this before, but I didn't know what it was. I distinctly know what it is now. Fast forward probably a year, 1 year later. I was at the funeral of a guy I just met 1 month prior. He was an elderly man. He lived a full life, a happy life, I'm sure. Only met him once or twice. But we were invited to the funeral, so I went. And after the funeral, went to visit the widow, just to give our condolences. And I felt him walk through my body, very prominently, the guy who passed away. And the first thought in my head, I've already told this story, the first thought in my head was, do not mention that the ghost of the guy who just died, do not mention that you could feel it. Don't mention he just walked through me to say hi. He might have walked through me twice. He definitely was saying, hi, I recognize you. Thank you for consoling my wife. I appreciate that. just here hanging around, making sure she's okay. But I want to say hi. I want you to know that I know, blah, blah, blah. But the first thought in my head was, don't tell the widow. Don't tell her dead husband is walking through me. Because that's the type of thing a charlatan psychic would do. They'd say, oh, I'm getting a message from your dead husband. Even if it is a message, it can come off as disrespectful. So the thing I did was, I acknowledged it. I was like, oh, very interesting. And I didn't say anything to her whatsoever concerning it. Because I knew that it might, let's say she doesn't believe in spirits. Let's say she doesn't believe in ghosts. She might think I'm trying to insult her intelligence. In no way, shape, or form did I want to make anything awkward or make it harder for someone, you know. But spirits exist. I have a spiritual gift. One time I went to a place of supposed religion. Now, I'm sure there are many good people in this place, all right? But there are also many led astray, if you will. And the topic was spiritual gifts, okay? And the person at the forefront said, hey, anyone know what a spiritual gift is? Raise your hand. And like 6 people, 7 people raised their hand. And the first person said, oh, being physically healthy, physically fit. He's like, okay. And the second person said, oh, physical. Third person said physical. Fourth person said physical. Fifth person said physical. Sixth, seventh, third person said physical. I was about to raise my hand and say it's non-physical. Spiritual gifts are specifically non-physical. There's nothing physical about them. It's literally a non-physical gift because spirit is non-physical. Spiritual gifts are non-physical. You are all wrong. You don't know what you're talking about. I'm sure all of you have spiritual gifts. You just don't know what they are. You don't even know what a spiritual gift is if you're saying physical. But I wanted to be polite, so I didn't raise my hand. I didn't say anything. And I just went about my business. But that gave me some insight into people even thinking they're religious. Religion and spirituality aren't even connected as much as they should be. Religion and spirituality should be connected. What I'm saying is, many a times they're not. Many a times I have mentioned my story, being bothered by poltergeist spirits. I don't have telekinesis, all right? Poltergeists are independent, intelligent entities. Anyone that says otherwise hasn't studied them and researched them as much as I have. You gotta understand, I was bothered by poltergeist entities for 6 months straight in 2011. Fast forward to 2018. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Fast forward 7 years, and I did a Corners of Rooms experiment, which attracted the same types of spirits to the point where I saw levitation of a poltergeist entity showcasing its intelligent capabilities. EMF meters don't set off anything psychic in your brain, all right? They just detect electromagnetic fields. Static meters can detect spirits. All of these are considered pseudoscience and fake science. I might as well do an entire video on that in the future. I will. I'll do a whole series on how ghost hunters are considered jokes because they don't focus on science. I'll make that a future video. Ghost hunters focus on history of the area, psychological aspects such as drama, emotions, what are you feeling? And they say, look at the history of this area. Oh, I feel this, I feel that. Science doesn't care what you feel like. unless you can reproduce it on a scientific level and you bring 100 people to the same location and they feel the same. Sure, that can be reported and recorded scientifically. But something more important, how people feel, is what's the temperature? What are the EMF readings? What are the static readings? Are there any gases in the area? I understand the gases thing is really a skeptical angle, and I'm not even ever a fan of what type of gases in their area, but the more data, the better, okay? It's never gonna be gases, all right? Unless you're in a cave system pouring out methane or something crazy like that. And some people are in some toxic environments pouring out some type of foreign substance, some gas they're not used to being exposed to, can create hallucinations, most definitely. But when a poltergeist picks up an object in a room, it's not gases making you hallucinate, okay? Especially if you got it on camera. Spirits exist, spiritual gifts exist. Spirituality, from my perspective, is believing spirit. Believing in spirit, believing spirits exist. Spirituality, from my perspective, is believing spirits exist, believing spirit exists. It goes beyond that. Some people might think I'm an idiot. Oh, that's all you think spirituality is? That's the first stepping stone of spirituality, all right? Sure, there's a million levels of spirituality. But the first level is believing spirit exists. If you don't believe spirit exists, you can't just get a grappling hook and fly to the higher levels. And the higher levels aren't anything for a status symbol. Spirituality has nothing to do with status symbol. It has nothing to do with status. I guarantee you the Dalai Lama knows spirits exist. Dalai Lama never talks about spirits, but he knows they exist. Dalai Lama knows negative evil spirits exist. Dalai Lama never talks about negative evil spirits, ever. Buddhism does recognize evil spirits, but there are many disciplines of Buddhism. The Dalai Lama's discipline definitely doesn't talk about them much, if ever. But they know they exist. When you're a level of the Dalai Lama, you're visited by spirits. But even when you're not the level of Dalai Lama, and you're just a regular Joe Schmo like me, you're visited by spirits. I don't know. I think spirits see human beings as currency, as numbers. That person has a currency of this amount of spirituality. This human has a currency of this much of this and that, just from the perspective of numbers. Spirits see us, they see right through us. We can put on a facade all day long, lie, cheat, and steal. A spirit can see straight through all those lies, all that cheating, and all that stealing. A spirit can see it. Now, I think spirits can see it a little better if they walk through you. I think spirits walk through everybody on a regular basis, and very few notice. No joke. Occasionally, I'll just be chilling, and a spirit walks through me. 99.999% of the time, I don't acknowledge it. But maybe 0.0001% of the time I'll be like, not interested, leave me alone. I know you're here, not interested. Sayonara. Maybe I shouldn't even attempt communication, you know. Maybe I shouldn't attempt it. You gotta understand, there's a level of passage and a level of right when you're doing nothing and being bothered. Now, people are going to say it's psychological. People are going to say it's mental. It's not. I wonder what Penn and Teller would do if the Ghost Adventures crew took them to the most haunted location they know. I know Penn and Teller are extreme die-hard disbelievers in the existence of spirit. What would Penn and Teller do if Zach Bagans from Ghost Adventures invited them to, let's say, even just the Haunted Museum in Las Vegas? I want to go. I want to check it out. It's chock full of supposedly haunted objects. Whether they're haunted objects or not, it's chock full of creepy objects, okay? And most definitely it was considered haunted before he bought it. That was one of the main selling points. There's supposedly a celebrity who knows who conducted rituals there, and that celebrity has been anonymous to this day. Zach Bagans says the celebrity doesn't want their name associated with pagan rituals or occult rituals in the basement. It's kind of unusual. The Haunted Museum, you know? The basement of the Haunted Museum. I could be one of the first people to say, because I said this way back in the day, that the heart of the Haunted Museum is that basement. When it was just concrete. And Zach Bagans gave a tour, and the entire floor was black, and it had a really elaborately expensive looking pentagram. And it looked like a perfectly black floor with a pentagram. It looked like tile. It looked like black tile. The last video I saw of it, when they did the Dybbuk Box quarantine finale special, they showed the floor, and it wasn't that nice tile floor anymore, and that nice pentagram was gone. I was like, what's going on? Is it just they laid down some temporary stuff and take it up? He's redecorating a lot down there. A giant black Baphomet statue. I mean, anyone can do whatever they want. Anyone has their own freedom of belief, freedom of religion, freedom of believing spirits exist, freedom of disbelieving spirits exist. But I know of a surety spirits do haunt things. I personally think I have a haunted lamp. I know it's very common. Haunted lamps are actually pretty common. I just read a story online about a haunted lamp. My haunted lamp story goes back beyond me ever hearing about that one. But I had a dream about my lamp before I bought it. This is what happened. I went to NoHo, North Hollywood, on Lancashire. I noticed Joey Diaz talking about Lancashire. I'm like, hey, I know Lancashire. It's North Hollywood. I know this place that sells pretty cool furniture. The prices have now gone up like way too high. Anyway, they used to be cheap. So I bought a couple chairs, a couple knickknacks. Couldn't really afford the nice big things because even back then, you know, a lucite lamp, a vintage 1960s chair, table, you know, they're not cheap. They're hundreds of dollars, sometimes $1,000+. So I had to save up to get a couple cool things. And I saw this lamp. It was a Sputnik lamp, and I think it was priced at $150. I didn't have it at the time because I just bought something else. I was like, oh man, I really like that lamp. I was like, can't afford it. Too bad. It's the coolest lamp I've ever seen, but can't afford it. So I drove home, and we're talking, I don't know, it could have been 3 months later, could have been 6 months later. I had a dream about the lamp. I was like, whoa, I must need to get that lamp. That lamp is calling me, but it's probably sold. It probably sold the day after I saw it. I went back to Lancashire, back to NoHo. It was there. I said, I have to have this lamp, but I don't want him to know I want it that badly. I'll tell him, how much for the lamp? He's like, oh, I gotta ask the boss. He has to call the boss every time. It's like, put some price tags on these things. So I'm like, $75, 75 big ones. And it was back and forth between the boss, but he said, okay, I got it for 50% off. And it's the coolest lamp I've ever seen in my life. After researching it for years, I found 2 lamps that look like they're made by the same manufacturer, but they're tiny desk versions. 2 tiny desk versions sold for $2,000, and I have the super tall version. I say it's easily a $2,000 lamp, maybe more. Doesn't matter. I don't care about value or price. I just had a dream about it, had to have it. When I put up the wallpaper in my room, I had to move the lamp out of the corner. And the lamp squeaked, an internal squeak. It sounded like someone literally got a wrench on the inside of the lamp and went, like really loud, really obvious. I was like, what the heck is that? I can't remember if it happened twice the first day or twice the second day. Now, I think it happened twice the first day. So I hear that, right? And then I hear it again. And I was like, what the heck? Twice within the space of 5 minutes of me putting up wallpaper. And then the next day, when I'm finishing up, I hear it a third time. The same, I'm not gonna break your eardrums, but super, 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 super loud. Clearly a spirit physically moving something inside the lamp, knowing it's gonna make this most screeching nails on a chalkboard type sound. There's a spirit literally that considers that lamp its personal property. I think it called out to me when it saw how much I liked it. It through a dream, like the movie The Explorers. And I obtained it, drove it all the way home, had to take the light bulbs out, put them back in. It has these huge globe bulbs. It's one of the most unique Sputnik lamps I've ever seen. It's clearly based on the plug, legitimately Sputnik era, concerning furniture. Late 1960s, early 1970s, during the space race. Might have been after the space race, during the space race, before the space race. There was a lot of inspiration in furniture. I used to think, wow, man, all this cool furniture back in the 60s. And I asked my parents, and they said, at least where they live, they never saw any of it, other than a couple things, and it was a fad that lasted like 5 seconds. That's from my parents' perspective. So maybe in Norway, maybe in Sweden, maybe in Denmark, it was more widely distributed, where a lot of this stuff was made. It's my favorite style, ultra modern, but specifically